Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to cover something that was really interesting that many of you may not know, okay? So something very important about your gear, okay? We're gonna break this down. As you can see, this bow has attack damage, speed, and critical rate. So all of these numbers, whenever you roll your stats, that 25% cold damage, the HP absorb on attack hit, the 15 HP on kill, some of these stats are gonna be flat rate. One of the most important things to know about this game is how these numbers impact your actual stats on your character. So that critical rate's 11. Anything that boosts your critical hit chance, say you have the gear critical rate is 25%. That's 25% of the actual gear's critical rate. So if the gear was 11, you'll get 25% more. And this directly impacts what your actual critical hit chance is. All this is based off of the base stats of your gear. And then, of course, you go through your skill tree and you'll bump those numbers up throughout the skill tree. Sometimes skills actually impact that as well. What you're ideally looking for is a high crit rate on your weapon. The higher the crit rate on your weapon is, the higher the percent bonuses you're gonna get across the board will be. So we'll take this bow here. It's a pretty nice bow. It's not super special, but it's a pretty nice bow. It's level 92. We're gonna use a particular essence that helps us roll for gear critical rate. It's a suffix. So, we're gonna be kind of busting the bow up a little bit because there are some interesting stats on there that are pretty good. But if you have these fixed essence, it's going to help a lot. So we've chose the critical rate. We're going to hit that. So now, as you can see, we got the 73% critical rate. That jumps to 19, right? So when we go back and we look at our character sheet, we saw that number was 17 to begin with. Now our critical rate is going to actually jump up from 17 to 30, all because of what we've done to our gear's critical rate. That means everything else points wise has boosted that number again on top of what that base number is on the weapon itself. This gets really confusing because not all stats work that way. That's why sometimes you'll see a percent versus a flat. Now, crit rate never really rolls flat on any of your items. It's always going to be a percent additional. So when you have your rings that are crit rate based, they're gonna roll the same way. So 37% crit rate and a 19% crit rate. We could take those items, we could actually put this ring on. Remember your numbers. We're gonna see crit rate increase yet again it goes up to 41 with a 9% chance. Now, these numbers are again very interesting, guys, because your attack critical rate of 41% is this flat 41, not a percent, I apologize, but that's only a 9.2% chance to crit. One of the easiest ways to show you that is to actually show you my other character. My other character has a decent bow. It's not perfect, it has a lot of opportunity to grow, but you're gonna see it has a rate of 35.2. Now that's a hefty number. So when we go and we look at our character stats, our crit rate is way higher. Our crit rate is 44% chance. So if there were anything on my character that was gonna deal damage, it has a 44% chance to actually be a critical hit. Almost 50, not quite there. Now, what really makes the big difference is what link runes you also have and what other rings or amulets or whatever's going to give you crit chance, gloves, things of that nature, all go into impacting that number. I run a skill that actually boosts all of that by 170% by itself, in conjunction with the link rune, which is doing another 155% on top of it. That means this skill gets all those base stats from my bow, the link rune, and the skill itself to give the skill an 83% chance to critically hit. All that is what adds into critical hit chance, which is very important in this game once you hit end game and you're doing critical builds. The reason why most people say you can't actually do your critical builds until end game is because gear just can't roll high enough percentages to impact that number by a lot. So cross lightning arrow is one of the better ranged weapons or skills that you can use to have a high crit. There are more that have a base crit chance that's higher, but this is one of the highest base crit chances that you can get on a skill rune. And because of that, in conjunction with rings, gloves, passive skill trees, and other things, you can get your percentages very high. So just rolling back to it, looking at your character sheet, your weapon, its base critical rate is where everything starts. Its speed. That's where speed is attack speed, by the way. All of these numbers go into creating that damage, that DPS, the boost of that. Again, Undecember is kind of it's a great game, but it does leave you a lot of gaps and a lot of figuring out. But understanding that your weapon is what gives you the biggest buff in your critical hit chance. If you had no critical hit chance on this weapon, it would really hurt the overall critical hit chance of my skills. And all that does load into your dodge rate as well. Big boost in dodge rate here, but when you look at your Zodiac, you're gonna see other things that give you additional percentages in dodge rate. All those are based off your flat dodge number that boost a percentage on top of that. The game does things weird, but it does make sense once you understand the formula for each one. I hope this short video was very helpful in that. I hope it helped explain a few things for you guys. If you have questions, please comment and I'll give you the best answer I possibly have. Alrighty.